Right, let me see what this video about Tekken Tag 2 is saying from Moonsault Slayer.
This is a screenshot of every character and what games they were added into. Now, when you talk about Tag 2, right, they only had 3 new characters, but pretty much all of these characters before was in Tag, and that made it too much to learn, too much to lab, too much to practice, too much to remember. That's not why Tag 2 failed. It is, bro. It is. I get you guys try to run with that idea of bad marketing, but it's not true. So many.
I think it's partially true. Omar, thank you for the $5 donation, bro. Thank you very much. Highly appreciated. That is partially true. I think the timing of when it came out, the marketing, and just maybe the general sentiment towards 3D fighters at the time, there was a couple of things that went wrong with Tag 2. Tag 2 is a quality product, man. It's really good. Yeah, it's complex. I don't think being complex makes it shit, though. I don't think people seeing all of those characters initially would put them off buying it. Maybe it would put them off playing it after they've bought it. But Tag 2 was working off the Tekken 6 framework and then added a bunch of systems in. So seeing even more characters, better visuals, better music, better stages, you would be like, oh yeah, I want to play this Tekken game, you know? I don't really understand like the logic behind it. It had to have been bad marketing to begin with. The retention would have turned, the difficulty would be reflected in the retention. People would be like, oh, I'm not playing this anymore because this is too fucking hard. Then people would turn it off. But initially, it should have sold well. It should have done more than what it did.
Many news articles from them where they say too many characters is too much to learn for a high-level player, for a casual player. They said people struggle to play 2 characters at a time, and they couldn't do it.
But you didn't have but the thing is, you didn't have to play 2 characters at a time. You could play 1 character against 2, and your character would get a power-up. They'd hit much harder than having 2 characters. I did that with Jinpachi. I ran people over with that character. He hit so hard. And then if they tried to run away to tag out, launch them as soon as they come in. So you didn't have to play 2 characters. You could actually go online and use 1 character. And some of that shit was hard to deal with. I remember going up against a Marduk player. He was just Marduk. He battered me, bro. He hit me with a Valet Tudo tackle. I was like, oh my god, I lost 50%. So it wasn't, you weren't forced to. That was a good thing about Tag 2. I think they realized it was difficult, so I will let them play. No, I didn't say I'm done with Tekken. I said I'm done with Tekken Ranked for now, which I am.
What in Tag 2? The people who play Tag 2 couldn't play 2 characters at a time. It having all of this stuff being too complex is why it failed. You can also say that it is because of like marketing and whatnot. Like one person here says bad timing. I would agree with that. I think Tag 2 did come off. So there's 2 issues here. It came at a time when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was like clapping cheeks. Tag 2 was competing with a lot of stuff. But also when you look at the game itself had its own flaws. Tag 2.
That's true. Tag 2 had flaws. I mean, he's just pointed out the fact that it did come out when there was a lot of things going on. I mean, I'll ask you guys this. If they launched Tekken 8 in the same week or even the same day as GTA 6, do you think Tekken 8 will suffer? The answer is obviously yes. It will get cooked by GTA 6. I know a good portion of people in my own community and just the Tekken scene in general, like, I'm playing GTA 6, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Might even say that myself. I don't know. It coming out around the time when Call of Duty is destroying everything. Maybe there's other big releases. I think, didn't Tag 2 come out at the tail end of PS3 as well? Weren't we transitioning slowly over to the PS4? There were rumors that the PS4 was about to drop. Usually when those things happen, sales start to dwindle for a lot of games. It's not like Last of Us where that's a massive last-minute release. Most games suffer when a console's coming to the end of its lifespan. People are like, I'm not buying that, man. The new console's coming out.
Was a bad game. It was fun. I love Tag 2. I love it. But my bias aside, it was a bad game. And I think Tekken 7 is a perfect example of that.
No, it wasn't a bad game. Not selling well does not mean it's a bad game. Tag 2 was a gem, man. These people are revisionists. Yeah, it didn't sell well, it almost killed the franchise, but it's not a bad game. Tag 2's a gem. It's a fantastic game. It's too complex. Is a game being too complex necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so. It could be. I don't think in Tag 2 case it was.
7 had tough competition. Fortnite, one of the biggest video games to ever game. Tekken 7 still found a way to sell 11 million copies in that. and that's because the game itself was good. And also, too, you say Tag 2 has bad marketing. I say Tekken 7 had worse marketing. How many of you guys seen any trailer prior to Geese Howard? You can say it had bad marketing. You can say that. I'll let you have it.
No. Tekken 7 had better marketing. Tekken 7 had better marketing. As a matter of fact, I can actually remember some of the old trailers for Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Tekken 6. Tekken 7 had fantastic trailers when it dropped, and there was a lot of hype. There was a renewed spirit when Tekken 7 was coming about. Like, they were really trying to earn the good one. I remember when the Akuma trailer dropped, people went mad. I remember people went crazy. Tekken 7 was everywhere. No, Tekken 7 had better marketing than Tekken Tag 2. 1,000%. 1,000. That's not even up for debate.
But don't act like if they had better trailers or better marketing, the game would have broke records. It's just not true. The game all around was bad. Like, I'm just.
Well, that's a reach, okay? You could, let's be. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I like Moonsault. You know, I've chatted to him. I had him on the stream a couple of times. I've been in his. I like Moonsault. So no one take this as like a Mike starting beef with Moonsault. I'm not. We're just reacting to a video. He said it wouldn't have been groundbreaking. I don't think anyone said that. I don't think anyone said that adding an extra few trailers was going to make it groundbreaking. Could it have helped though? Yes. Could they have put better trailers out for Tekken Tag 2? 1,000%. Tekken Tag 2 has got some of the least memorable trailers out there. This is revisionist. This is 100% revisionist. All that Tekken Tag 2 towards the tail end of its marketing brought in Snoop Dogg. And I was a bit like, come on, man, you can do better than this. No offense to Snoop Dogg. I like Snoop Dogg and what he puts out in that, but wasn't gonna break ground with that, was it?
Just trying to keep it real with you guys. I'm really just trying to keep it real with you guys. Like, that's it. Like, you know, I'm not trying to trash on Tekken or anything. I'm just telling you that, look, I'm gonna pull up a video from Eris, and you can hear Eris talk about Tag 2.
Eris hates Tag 2. Eris hates this game. So you're pulling from somebody. Although, like I said, Eris for a long time was my favorite fighting game content creator. Eris is a little bit biased, I think, when it comes to Tag 2. I'll be real. Maybe it's just his opinion. Again, my favorite content creator. But I didn't agree with his take on Tag 2. His rage on Tag 2 is legendary. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Obviously, because the health bars are yellow, so basically Tekken 7 just came out, right?
And it came out and it was just fucking trash.
So he's talking about how Tekken 6, he loved it so much. That's why he started his YouTube channel. He loved it. And when Tag 2 was coming out, he was so excited, just like how we all love Tekken 7, and we were so excited for Tekken 8. Yes, Tekken 8 is going to continue what Tekken 7 did. That's the same thing that Eris felt from playing Tekken 6 and going into Tag 2.
How excited I was for this return to an era where everyone loves Tekken, and it never came. In fact, it came in the reverse way, where not only did everyone not like Tekken, but a lot of the people who liked Tekken up until that point stopped liking.
Like, I love Tag 2. I played it every day.
How can you love Tag 2 and call it shit? That doesn't even make any sense. From what I remember of Tag 2, the competitive players weren't too chuffed with it. The casual players, though, they loved it. Don't forget, Tag 2 had that system in it, or I think it was because of the PS3, where you could play your own music over stages. Do you guys remember that? For a casual, that's a big deal. I mean, at that point in time, I was super casual. And being able to play my own music, I was putting DMX, X Gonna Give It To You over the stages. That shit was groundbreaking to me. I loved it. So from what I remember, casuals liked Tag 2. And the pro scene didn't like it because it was so overbearing. It's a very complex game. I mean, learning one Tekken character is hard enough. Learning two and then fighting two characters, yeah, I can imagine you get annoyed at that.
Moving my bias, the game was not good, and it was a complete failure. He'll get to the part where he talks about like too many rosters, too many characters. He's going to get to that, right? He's going to get to the part, because you guys think that too many characters on the roster is not an issue. I think it's definitely an issue. If you want to go there, we can.
If too many characters on a roster is an issue, then explain Smash Bros. Smash Bros has got a gigantic roster. It must take ages to learn those matchups. They just kept adding and adding and adding to it, and it's hyper successful. I don't think that's the problem here. There's a disconnect with Tag 2, don't get me wrong, but I don't think a gigantic roster is the point. And don't forget, Tekken 7's roster is massive. Tekken 7's roster is huge. I don't know. And let's assume that Tekken 8 is doing well, right? Let's assume it's doing well, and Bandai Namco wants to support this game with 4 characters a year. Let's say that they support that for 6 years. That's a lot of fucking characters. That is a lot of characters. How many characters has Tekken 7 got? 50. Let me check. How many characters does Tekken 7 have? 51. There's 51. How many characters in Tag 2? 59. What are we saying here? And clone characters as well. And clone, right? So if you take away the clones, how many clones are there in Tekken Tag 2? There's quite a few of them. Violet and Lee. Those are the only 2 I can remember off the top of my head. But there was Eddie and... was it Tiger? Was Christy in there as well? Yeah, there were 3 capos. It's not the roster size. I think Tekken 8 is going to have a bigger roster than Tekken 7. It might, if this game is actually doing well and it's actually making a ton of money and there's no need to bring out a new game, it might end up reaching Tag 2 level. It might. I mean, if they're just selling characters like crazy, selling battle passes. We also had Combat and Mokujin in Tag 2. This is cap. This is what I mean. Like, there needs to be a little bit more nuance in the discussion. What Moonsault Slayer has done is he's looked at the number, he's seen 59, he's gone 8. That's a big fucking number. Now, yeah, it's true, fighting 2 characters at once is annoying, but a lot of people were lazy on Tag 2 and they just used the palette swaps. I remember watching Fighting GM, he was using Lee and Violet. There was Lily and Sebastian, Bob and Slim Bob. Actually, when you put that all together, how many clone characters are in Tekken Tag 2 now that we think about it? Because it's sounding to me that there might be more characters in Tekken 7 in terms of individual characters than Tag 2. So this point doesn't really make sense. There's 9 clone characters, right? So there's 59 characters in Tekken Tag 2, 9 clones. 9 clones, that brings it down to 50. There's 51 characters in Tekken 7 with 1 clone, right? The Bears. That means they have the same size roster. Oh, there's 11 clones. Okay, there's 11 clones. All right, cool. So it has less characters then. Really? With oh yeah, Xiao Yu and Miharu. Forgot about that. Jun and Unknown. Well, actually, wait, hold on. I'm pretty sure Jun and Unknown played somewhat differently. They were different. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not good. This is not the reason that Tekken Tag 2 failed. That is cap. Bear in mind as well, Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 also added systems into the game. Rage Arts, Power Crush. Now we got Heat. The systems become convoluted. The system in Tekken Tag 2 were not that hard to wrap your head around. You had Tag Crash and people flying in and whatever, but it was kind of easy to understand what was going on. The systems weren't overbearing and it had Rage. So this is cap. It's actually 15 clones. Well, there you go. 15 clones. It actually has. Thank you, chat. Thank you. So no, this is a bullshit reason. Moonsault. Sorry, my friend. We're friends. We're cool. Me and Moonsault are cool, but this is a bullshit point. That is not why the game failed. Absolutely not. I call BS.
Okay, let's keep going. It's not a personal opinion. Tag 2 wasn't supposed.
What was that laugh? That was some Seth Rollins laugh. Oh shit, I forgot. Raw's on Netflix tonight as well. Damn, I forgot about that. Fate Moonsault just reminded me. And The Rock is coming back, guys. The Rock confirmed on Twitter he's back for Netflix.
Ported the way Tekken 7 was, no DLC, no patches. That's not true. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 did have DLC. It had 1 DLC stage and it had about 6 DLC characters. So that's not true.
To summarize it, Tekken Tag...
And it was also free. Tekken Tag 2's DLC was free. Because a lot of them were clones as well, don't forget. Just dumped them. They just dumped this free update in, which is, it's fine. I don't mind. If they dumped a bunch of clones into Tekken 8, I'm not going to complain if it's all free. If it bloats the roster, but, it's whatever.
2 was too complex for no reason. An already complicated game, it requires you to not only learn to use 2 characters, but defend against 2 characters. And on top of that, the inclusion of Tag Crash and Tag Assault and Wall Tag created so many variables that you would need someone who's got a couple of screws loose upstairs to really take the time to learn all of the little intricacies involved.
I don't agree with that. Whilst it's true that it did create a lot of variables, he's talking like you're trying to decipher the Codex Gigas or something. Again, don't get me wrong, Ares, historically my favorite fighting game content creator when he was doing that. I know he's moved away from it now, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I highly disagree with that, maybe.
Control that piece of shit game.
I brought up this video for a reason.
This game is much more easy to control for more people, and as a result, it's easier to watch.
You guys don't like the fact that Tekken simplifies, right? But I support it to a degree. I think Tekken 8 is pushing it too far in many different ways, but I think Tekken 7 was a very good balance. You don't need to make the game like Tekken fans act like the more complicated something is, the better it is to do. And that's not true. Like, there is a such thing as too complicated, and Tag 2 was that. It was way too complicated for no reason at all. And of course, I was a new.
Okay, wait. Let's calm down. Tekken Tag 2, yes, it's a harder game to play than Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. I will agree. They are acting like this is Journey to the West or something, and you're going to be fighting tigers on the way there just to understand the bare basics. It's difficult. It is difficult, and it's also difficult to defend against two characters. But it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. If they introduced a tag system into Tekken 8, right? Forget the tag mechanics, just a one single tag mechanic where you switch in and switch out. I don't think people would be that lost, even in Tekken 7. There's technically more unique characters in Tekken 7. And Tekken 7 is like very, very heavy on the defense as well, which, you know, Tag 2, although it was like the backdashing was crazy in that game and the sidestepping was good, it's a very offensive game as well. But they're really talking like it's rocket science. It's really not. It's not. And again, I've got the proof on my channel, guys. I played Tag 2 from beginning to end. I played it with King J. I played it with I've forgotten his name. It was Real Menace. I played it with Real Menace against his True Ogre. That was really annoying. I played with these guys. It's not acting like it's Counter-Strike or some shit.
New person at the time playing the game, so I had no clue how complicated it was. But I remember not being able to do anything. I was trying to learn how to play that game, and I was having fun, but I could not do anything. And you know what I ended up doing in Tag 2? Since I didn't know how to do anything, I started to abuse Yoshimitsu's unblockables, because his unblockables did insane damage. You had the game being super complex, and no one could understand it. But then you also had so much broken garbage in the game. This idea that Tekken needs to be ultra complex is a stupid idea. You can definitely simplify character. Look at Jin Kazama. Jin Kazama is the greatest example of it, bro. He had the absolute worst win rate in the whole game. And that's simply because a lot of people, they did not look at him. He's down.
If he's going where I think he's going with this point, I'm about to get annoyed. They bastardized Jin Kazama in Tekken 8. Tekken 7 Jin was a work of art. A work of art. Don't you think that's a bit anecdotal because you're good at it and weren't a beginner going into it though? No, I wasn't that good at Tekken 8, Tekken Tag 2, to be honest with you. I was playing against Lion-O. Take care, Medi. Take care, bro. I was playing against Lion-O, Cobra Commander, you know, King J. They were sick at the game. I was getting battered at that game. I don't think I was good at Tekken 8, Tekken Tag 2 until the end of Tekken 7 when I was still dabbling in Tag 2 because I enjoyed it. Then I got good. But back in those days when the game was active, I was going to tournament and going 0-2. I couldn't catch a break on that game. But I could see, like I was talking to them and I could see what I was going wrong. They're really acting like it's rocket science. It's not. It's really, really not. I really do hope they do a remaster or they repackage Tag 2 and they bring it out. And you guys will see for yourself. It's not what they're making it out to be. I promise you. If you want to say it's the hardest Tekken game, I could say, yeah, probably. Tekken Tag 2 will probably be the hardest one to stay consistent at. But it's not as hard as they're making out. And also, if you played Tekken 6, then yeah, there was a lot of systems that carried over. So people that played Tekken 6, they'll have some understanding. It shouldn't... But anyway, this Jin Kazama point that he's getting on, no. Jin is a shell of his former self in Tekken 8. I will die on that hill. I think I already got cooked on Twitter for saying that. I will continue to say it. They really designed Jin to a T in Tekken 7. And his win rate was so low because he was so complex to use. Now anyone can use Jin. That's why his win rate is so high. Anyone can use him. Obviously, if you make a character mega powerful and the objective of the game is to win, people are going to pick the mega powerful character. It doesn't necessarily mean that what they've done to the character is a good thing. People are just going to go where the power is. And the power lies with Jin in this game, a lot of it anyway. They fucked up Jin, I'm sorry. Jin used to be someone where you come up against the Jin online and he beats you up, you deserve to take that beating because he was sick at the game. Now it's like whatever, you beat me with Jin, cool.
down at the bottom, a lot of people just simply could not understand how to use Jin Kazama. They made him simpler. Everyone.
Look at that. Jin and Yoshimitsu. Another character that was tough to get wins with. You didn't really see Yoshi that much. You know, I don't know if you guys remember a player called iMusician, but it was a spectacle watching iMusician destroy people because you never saw it. Now Jin and Yoshi are everywhere. Because they were made to be played by everyone. They bastardized the characters. And the thing is with Yoshi, they didn't change too much from Yoshi. I think the system that Yoshi has been put in has made him ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've definitely buffed things on it. The heat system and the way health regen works in conjunction with Yoshimitsu's health regen and just the way he evades things in this game, he's come into a system that has heavily benefited him.
Everyone cried about it at the start. Oh no, they're making the DSS easier. They're making the L sweeps easier. But now everyone who was crying about it is now benefiting from it. Trash.
Tag 2 is a masterpiece of a game
point.
if you consider what's in.
No, hold on. What did he just say? Say that again, please. Like, hold on. Before he says that, that's a terrible point. Obviously, if you make a character ridiculously powerful, people are going to benefit from it. It doesn't mean it's good design. Those are two separate. Listen, if you give Feng Wei the ability, you know in Feng Wei's Rage Out where he punches to the sky and the dragon comes out of it. If you give me the ability to shoot dragons at you on the screen, yeah, I'm going to benefit from it. I'm shooting dragons at you. Shooting dragons out of my eyeballs. Does that mean the design is better? No, you just made my character stronger and now I can get away with murder. I don't understand how you can't differentiate the two things. I really don't understand. This is an awful take. This is an awful take.
Tag 2 is a masterpiece of a game if you consider what's in it as like a toy or a sandbox type of a game. But competitively, it was outrageous.
When I first started playing,
there it is. Didn't I say that earlier? It is a gem of a game. Tag 2 is fantastic. Tag 2 is genuinely fantastic. Competitively, yes, I can imagine it is a lot to deal with. But it's a great game. You can't call something shit and then say it's a pile of shit and then it's also a masterpiece. That doesn't really make any sense. Yes, it can be a nightmare competitively, but Tekken Tag 2 was a fantastic game. I think Tekken Tag 2 was a victim of its time. I really honestly do, because there was a time that 3D games went through where people really started to turn on them. They were like, we're out. I think there was a lot of contributing factors to that. And then also at that time, if I remember correctly, shooting games had just exploded and taken over a bunch of fan bases as well. Maybe that's not fair though, because there's going to be other games that are doing well at the same time. Either way, if you haven't played Tekken Tag 2, I highly recommend it. Tekken Tag 2 is incredible. But as a competitive player, yeah, I can imagine it would have been an absolute nightmare.
in Tag 2, it was this game where I could like theoretically do anything, right? I just didn't know how to do it. I never could figure it out. But the option was always there. The possibilities of doing it was always there. But the game was so complex to where you can never reach it.
And a lot of people are like,
wait, hold on. This isn't true, Kisame. You weren't forced to play tag. You could actually just pick one character in Tekken Tag 2, and it was actually very effective. I did it in tournament against someone. I used only Jinpachi when I wasn't sure about Ain't Shinoga, Feng Wei, or Marduk. I was still a bit rocky. I picked Jinpachi, and what happens in Tekken Tag 2 is when you pick one character instead of a tag team partner, your character gets a power boost. Now you can imagine Jinpachi already being somebody that probably hits the hardest in the game, getting a power boost. I was throwing people around the stage like they were nothing. So you don't have to. And also you can go online and you can pick one character. So you didn't have to. You weren't forced to. If you didn't want to use the character, unlike MK1, you have to use a cameo. The option was there.
like, oh yeah, you know, he's just not good at it. Well, that's true.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You guys are trying to say like I'm a kid and I'm not good at it. That's literally what you guys, bro. This is why I pulled up this video. That's literally what you guys are doing right now. Oh, he's not good at it. Since I'm saying what I'm saying about Tag 2, you guys are trying to respond with, oh, well, that's because you just weren't good at it.
And a lot of people are.
Yeah, that's a dumb response. His skill level on Tag 2 does not change the conversation. And that's really, I hate when people do that. It's just like, really, are we 10 years old? It's not about your skill. It's just observing what was happening at the time. But you know, there's already a couple of points in here that have nothing to do with skill and more about observation, what's going on around you. I really don't think the roster size was the issue.
Are like, oh yeah, you know, he's just not good at it. Well, that's true. As I said, the only people good at it are the same people who like the taste of shit. And you're right, I'm not good at that either. If that's an insult, like, Harris isn't good at eating shit. Well, yeah, all right, you got me there.
Ares is trolling. He's trolling. You had to lock in hard on Tag 2 to be good at it. That's true. Figuratively speaking, you had to eat a lot of shit to get to that point. But you know, you have to eat a lot of shit on all Tekken games, but you had to eat the most shit on Tag 2 because it had arguably the most stuff going on. That doesn't make it a bad game though. Like, you have to deal with matchups. Matchups can be shit to deal with in all games, but I just don't agree with these points at all, man.
Concede. You win this round.
All of those names he just tag, a crash, tag, assault. Do you even know what those are? What'd you say? Someone said something that I want to also make fun of. The idea is you end up adding too much to the game, whether it be characters, mechanics, or whatever, and the game gets worse because of it. The people who think that if you continuously add to something, that can't make it an issue, I mean, you're delusional. Anything. You heard the saying, too much of anything is bad? Yes, too many characters is 100% bad. When Tekken 7 got trash is when they had 50 characters in the game. When they were at 30, 40, perfect. 50, now everyone's getting blown up by random guards.
Nah, that's knowledge checks. Again, I refer back to Super Smash Bros. They kept adding and adding and adding and adding. And the Smash Bros at a high level, you do have to know what you're doing. You got to learn the matchups. You get blown up in that game quite quickly. I've played high level Smash. As a matter of fact, my brother was a high level Smash player. He was a very high level Luigi player. And Smash Bros kept adding and adding and adding. And Smash Bros has its own variables as well. So no, I don't think that. I think Tekken 8 is only going to get better with more characters in, because the more characters you add in, the more players are satisfied. They get their main back in the game. It's a good thing. It makes the game harder. It doesn't necessarily mean it's more trash though. It could put people off because it's like, there's too much to learn. I don't think that will happen. I think other things will put people off of Tekken 8. I can imagine where you add loads of characters in the game with the heat system as it currently is, or you increase the heat system whilst adding more characters in the game, and everyone's just like, I've had enough. I'm not dealing with Jinpachi and heat. I can see that happening. But I don't think adding more characters automatically means the game is going to be worse. I don't think that at all.
Garbage, knees getting taken out by random tech. Before Tekken 6, you had characters like the Bears, Rogers, Alex, Gon. You had all of these wacky characters. From Tekken 6 onwards, excluding Tag Tournament 2, the roster has one, been small, and two, there's been a lot of characters who are missing and are seeming like they're never going to return. Tag 2 is the only game to ever have a roster of like 60 plus characters. And after that game's 59. Failure, you start to hear things like the game is too complicated, too complex, too much to learn, too much lab, too much of this. And ever since then, no matter how far back you go, ever since Tag 2, Michael Murray has consistently said no one wants a game with that many characters in it.
Well, I mean, if you remove the clone characters, then it would have had less characters than Tekken 7. If it's got 59 characters and you remove... If it's got 59 and you remove 15, it has less than Tekken 7. How many characters did Tekken 6 have? Let's have a look. Tekken 6 had 41. Okay. So that wouldn't be that different from... Because the Tekken Tag 2 would have 44, right? Tekken 5, I imagine Tekken 5, it starts to get a bit smaller when you go further back. 32. Yeah, so Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 7, it's not going to be that different. I really don't think that's the issue here.
And the reason why is because it's simply too much. And as a result of that, you end up losing a lot of characters because you have to focus on the fan favorites. We don't have to agree on everything. I don't want you guys to agree with me. Like, yeah, you're right, Moonsault. I want honest opinions, you know what I mean? So I appreciate the honesty. Even if, we start calling each other scrubs and it get a little ugly, I appreciate it, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to call him a scrub for it. It's his opinion, but I just completely disagree with the assessments made there. Yeah, it's just, I think there's so many other factors that you could bring up with regards to Tag 2. It's a victim of its time, poor marketing, really strong competition, tail end of the console that it was on, dwindling player base, 3D games probably not being positively received at the time, I mean, if you look at Tekken, when did Tekken 6 come out on consoles? Tekken 6 console release date was 2009, and then Tekken 6 sold how much? 3.5 million copies, right? Which is, not Tekken 5. There was clearly a bit of a disconnect there. So maybe Tekken Tag 2 suffered from a little bit of fatigue that people had from Tekken 6 as well. People brought in Lars and Allison. A lot of Tekken players were like, don't know if I like this very much. I mean, I know I certainly didn't like Rage. I didn't like seeing Allison. I didn't mind Lars too much. And then Tekken Tag 2 comes out 3 years later, which is relatively quick turnaround time for a Tekken game to release, because Tekken 5 came out when? 2004. So quite some time before that, 5 years. So maybe there was a bit of fatigue there. So you got poor marketing, potential fatigue. Tekken 6 didn't do insanely well, 3.4 million. Victim of its time potentially. Console maybe drying out slowly, coming towards the end of the PS3. Fierce competition from Call of Duty, maybe The Last of Us. People not being too into 3D fighters at the time, because 3D fighters went through a bit of a dark phase at one point. And then the competitive scene not really supporting the game very much. No streams, no social media. Yeah, there were, but it wasn't great. But Tekken Tag 2, make no mistake about it, Tekken Tag 2 is a fantastic game, and I really hope they re-release it. I really, really do. Yeah, 2D fighters back then, they were the king. They were dominating everything. Street Fighter 4 lit a fire under everyone's ass, and no one could escape Street Fighter 4 for a very, very long time. So there were loads of things. I think if a Tekken Tag 3 comes out, and 3D games are doing... The thing is, if you release Tekken Tag 3 and Tekken 8 hasn't done well, then Tekken Tag 3 probably won't. But if Tekken Tag 2 really does do as well as they're saying, and then we get Virtua Fighter, people are like, oh, 3D fighting games are back. Let's say we get a 3D Mortal Kombat game. Let's say it's sick. Okay, I know it's unlikely, but let's say it's really good. Suddenly the conversation changes. Let's assume that this is in the distant future where GTA 6 is still not dominating the conversation. Because anyone that's releasing their game around GTA 6 is going to get deep fried. I don't care who you are. And I'm not even a massive GTA fan. I can appreciate it, but let's just be honest here. No one's going to touch GTA. There's a couple of factors here. Roster size is nonsense. I'm calling nonsense. I don't think that's the case. If you rewrite history and release Tag 2 in 2017 or 2024 or between those years with the same factors that we've had for exposure, Tag 2, I have no doubt in my mind that it would have done well. I think it would have done better if it was released at a different time. I do. I think better marketing, different release schedule, all of those things do factor into a game doing well. They really do. There's been some amazing games that have gone completely under the radar or been completely overshadowed by other games. It's not an indictment of the game. Like, it's not to say the game is shit or anything, because it's not. So yeah, a bit of an L take from I was going to say Demon Slayer, Moonsault Slayer. Don't agree with that take at all. And I would actually say that maybe Tekken 8 would benefit from a team battle mode, not tag mode. Team battle, and I think people will be fine with dealing with two characters. Yeah, it won't be as crazy. Okami, yes, Okami is a fantastic example. Tim, thank you. Okami is a fantastic game. The reason people didn't really go mad for it when it was re-announced at the Game Awards, because I think a lot of people were like, "What's Okami?" Because it came out at a bit of a turbulent time for Capcom. I think it's one of those classics that just went under the radar. But make no mistake, Okami is an insanely good game. I'm not going to call into question Moonsault's skill level, because I really think that is irrelevant. I would call into question his playtime and his how active he was on Tekken at the time. I would call that into question, because those are some questionable takes. We don't need a tag free right now. No, I agree. We don't need tag free right now, but I think a team battle would be nice. Team battle mode, survival mode, those modes, I think they should come back to Tekken 8.